Before the world knew King Von, he was just Davon Bennett, a kid from Chicago's South Side, born into violence, raised by O Block. He became a street legend long before music ever made him famous. But with the fame came enemies. This is the story of King Von, how the streets made him and how fame played a part in his downfall. Davon was born in 1994 and raised in Parkway Gardens, better known as O Block. It was one of the most dangerous areas in Chicago. His father died when Von was young. He grew up surrounded by gangs, shootings, and poverty. With no father figure, the streets became his teachers. By his teens, Von was already deep in the gang life. As a teen, Von joined the Black Disciples, the gang controlling O Block. He gained a reputation fast, fearless, loyal, and dangerous. He was involved in real conflicts with rival sets like STL, EBT. These weren't just rap beefs. They were deadly street wars. Von was known on the streets long before he picked up a mic. In 2014, Von was charged with murder and attempted murder. He spent over 3 years in jail fighting the case. While locked up, his name rang through the streets. When the charges were dropped in 2017, he came home a legend. Jail didn't break him, it built him. Now he had respect and a second chance. After jail, Von started rapping. In 2018, he dropped Crazy Story and it went viral. His storytelling was raw and real, the streets in music form. Lil Durk signed him to OTF and helped him grow. Von finally saw a way out of the street life, through rap. But leaving the streets behind wouldn't be so simple. As Von rose in fame, he stayed tied to the streets. He dropped hit songs and gained fans fast, but he also kept dissing rivals and getting into beefs. He flashed guns, called out ops, and stayed active online. Fame gave him a platform, but also made him a bigger target. In 2020, Von had issues with rapper Quando Rondo. Tension was rising, especially because of Rondo's ties to NBA YoungBoy. Subtle disses turned to real hostility. Both rappers had street ties and loyal crews. Many felt it wasn't just rap, it was personal, and something bad was about to happen. On November 6, 2020, Von was in Atlanta. Outside a nightclub, he spotted Quando and his crew. Von approached and punched him. Within seconds, Lil Tim from Rondo's crew pulled a gun and shot Von. Von was rushed to the hospital, but didn't survive. He died at just 26 years old. News of Von's death shocked the world. Fans, rappers, and Chicago streets all reacted with grief and anger. Lil Durk went silent. Memorials popped up. Some called Von a victim, others said it was karma. One thing was certain. Drill music lost one of its realest voices. King Von was more than a rapper. He was a storyteller. His music was raw, detailed, and personal. He turned his life into lyrics, and people felt it. But he could never escape the world that made him. In the end, fame couldn't save him from the past. Rest in peace, Davon Bennett, King Von. Lil Durk saw Von's potential and signed him to OTF, Only the Family. Von now had a team, a label, and resources behind him. He moved to Atlanta, but his music still repped O Block. Tracks like Took Her to the O and 3 a.m. showed his range and detail. He was rising fast in the drill scene. But while he was rapping, he was also still tweeting about ops, showing guns, and beefing online. Fame was growing, but so was the danger. Von used Twitter and Instagram like weapons. He trolled enemies, name-dropped the dead, and called out rival gangs. The drama wasn't just online, it was real. Fans followed every post, watching the tension rise. He had issues with rappers like NBA YoungBoy and Quando Rondo. Some of it was personal, some of it was street loyalty. Either way, it was getting serious. And everyone watching knew it. The internet exploded. Rappers, fans, and family all reacted to the news. Lil Durk was devastated. He went silent for days, later releasing tribute music for Von. Some people blamed Von for being too deep in street life. Others saw him as a victim of a cycle he tried to escape. Either way, his death made headlines across the world, and Chicago lost another legend. Even in death, King Von's impact is still felt. His music keeps streaming. New fans discover his songs every day. He told raw, gritty stories that painted the truth of life in the trenches. He didn't sugarcoat anything. Von showed the world what it's like to grow up in a war zone and still chase something bigger. But the past caught up with him. Long live King Von, the voice of the streets. Behind the headlines and the street image, Von was also a father. He had children he cared about and spent time with when he could. Those close to him say he had a soft side most never saw. He helped people from O Block with money, clothes, and support. He kept childhood friends close and gave them opportunities. To his crew, Von wasn't just a rapper. He was family. He never forgot where he came from. Many fans ask, could Von have really escaped the streets? He had money, fame, and a way out. But the streets weren't just something he lived in. They were part of who he was. He carried pain, loss, and anger from a young age. Leaving behind that life meant leaving behind people he loved. Maybe he tried. But sometimes the street life doesn't let you walk away, even when you want to. King Von's life is more than music and murder headlines. It's a reflection of what young black men face in cities like Chicago every day. A system of poverty, violence, and survival with very few exits. Von made it further than most, but his past followed him, and his future was cut short. His story is both powerful and tragic, a warning and a reminder. In the end, he was human, and his voice will never be forgotten. He was tight with Lil Durk and connected to Black Disciples, specifically the set from 64th and King Drive, a place that would become infamous through drill music. Von was smart. He played sports, made decent grades, but in an environment like O Block, the streets came first. His death shook the hip-hop world. Fans mourned his loss, and Lil Durk, devastated, paid tribute through music and silence. Von's posthumous album, What It Means to Be King, dropped in 2022, reminding everyone why his voice mattered.
King Von wasn't just a rapper, he was a reflection of his environment. His life was a mix of pain, loyalty, and survival. The streets made him who he was. But in the end, they were the reason he never got to truly leave.